So as requested by you, now here is the roaming build guide for Revenant. In particular, today we're gonna look at the 2 strongest builds for Herald right now to roam with, at least in my opinion. I'm Summer, and without much further ado, let's jump right in. So the first variant we are talking about is a rather Bruiser replay style with Spear. And the second variant will be a much more offensive one. But if you only want to see that, please skip ahead. So let's start with the gear of the Bruiser variant. So like I said, we want to run Spear, and on the offhand we run Mace Shield. We run full Celestial gear with Rune of the Leadership for more boon duration, and full Celestial even on the trinkets. So now, you would probably ask, after the nerfs, Celestial is not that strong anymore. You're right, but this build still benefits a lot from running Celestial. If you don't want to run Celestial, or if you, let's say, dislike Celestial, you can go for Trailblazers, but you will definitely feel an impact because you're really condition focused then, and that's a little bit tough with this build because you don't apply crazy amounts of condition in the sense that you do 10 conditions at a time. It's more like you do 2 or so, and if they have some cleanses, you might not be able to kill them with Trailblazer. With Celestial, you don't have that problem that much because you also do power damage, you have more sustain because of the healing power. So I would say overall I would go for Celestial if you feel like you want the best option. For your sigils, you would go with Hydromancy and Geomancy on your Spear, and because you're Revenant, you have, so to say, 2 weapon swaps, not only the weapon swap but also the legend swap. So you want different sigils on each weapon set, and on the second weapon set we want Cleansing and Energy. You can swap them however you like. It's not necessary that they are exactly like this. You can also swap the Hydromancy sigil for something different, whatever you like, but I feel like the synergy with the build is really good with Hydromancy and Geomancy just to get more conditions to cover your normal conditions. And for relics, there are actually multiple options. So you could go, like I tested here, Relic of Ice. It's actually quite strong with this build. We will get to that in the later section with the skills, because you have actually multiple elites, and you can get some nice damage or cover conditions with this. If you don't want to run something like this, you can go for Demon Queen. It's always a good option when you apply poison. It will just be really valuable in 1-on-1s against other Celestial or tanky builds. And another relic that you could use is Wayfinder Relic or Speed Relic, just to get more movement speed on the fight, because your melee build, you want to have as much movement speed as you can get. And the last option that I would also consider would be Relic of Rivers. Even though you don't have that high boon duration, the alacrity can really help and carry the fight. But I would say for most situations I would go for either the Ice Relic or Demon Queen or Speed Relic. Those 3 are the best, probably. Now to the consumables. So for the Bruiser build, you want to run, of course, Spherified Peppercorn Spiced Oyster Soup, just because you get damage reduction and all attributes. Perfect, it's just more stats. And you want to run Tuning Icicles. Just the best options together with Celestial gear. So for the traits, you want to run Corruption, Retribution and Herald. It's actually exactly the same traits that you use in your PvP setup. So you get more torment damage, you get a little bit of burst when you swap legends, you get more condition damage, you get more condition duration. When you chill a foe, you inflict torment on them. That's really strong because you have, like I said, Hydromancy on your swap. So it will apply chill, and this chill will also inflict torment. So you have a really nice burst of conditions around you, not only from your legend swap, but also from your weapon swap. And then when you legend swap, you invoke torment around you, which gives you burning and poison application as well. Really good with the Demon Queen Relic as well. For Retribution, gives you some nice endurance recovery, some vigor on dodge. That's why the boon duration is really good. Then you get some strike damage reduction and some resolution when you legend swap, also really good. Some resolution when you dodge and some incoming damage reduction, which is obviously really good with the vigor and the endurance recovery, so you get that really often. And then while you have resolution, all damage dealt is increased. It's nice on Celestial, on Trailblazer it doesn't help. and you gain might when you strike foes. It's really long-lasting might if you have boon duration, and resolution lasts 50% longer, so you can upkeep 100% resolution with this build, and you get some nice might passively, and while you're Celestial, you get benefit of condition damage and power damage from the might. Really strong trade line. Herald gives you access to your F2 skill. It's a nice condition cleanse in the Glint legend, and some nice boon removal, unblockable in the Assassin stance, which is your second stance. Then you get some movement speed for each upkeep that you use. If you run Speed Relic or Wayfinder Relic, I would swap this trait to either core value to just increase the value of your F2 skills, or if you're Celestial, you can even go for Elder's Respite because you then get way more passive regen. So all of those traits are valuable, but if you're not Speed or Wayfinder Relic, you have to go with Rising Momentum, just because it's really strong. And you get some passive maximum health, some concentration and more bonus damage, which is quite nice on Celestial. On Trailblazer, it's also not important. Then you get some nice condition removes with your shield. This one pulses, so 3 times, or 4 times actually. And this one is another cleanse one. And per upkeep you get damage reduction, which is also quite nice. And really good as well, especially on Celestial, but on Trailblazer also, is you get after 6 seconds after you use your Facets Consume skill, you still pulse the Facets wounds. Really good. That's quite nice. And you get some nice damage or extra buff effects when you use a Facet. So, like I said, this build is with Shiro and Legendary Dragon stance. You apply a lot of conditions by legend swapping, and you also apply a lot of conditions with your spear. You have a nice pull here, you have some really good AoE damage, you have some really strong skill with this, because all of those mines will apply weakness, slow, chill, and torment because of your traits. So it's really nasty, and you have some another burning and chill and torment application on this skill, and you are really strong with this setup. And of course some nice burning field here and some nice blast finisher with torment and weakness application as well. So you have it's a really well-rounded setup, I would say, and you are really good in 101s. You have really good damage, power and condition damage actually, and you have really good setup with your assassin stance. You have stun break, evades, teleports, a lot of stuns, or long stun duration with this, and vulnerability application. If you pair that with the Relic of Ice, that's why I bring it, both of your CC elites are, if you hit them, then your Ice Relic will also hit, and therefore you get a lot of vulnerability application. If you hit Jade Winds with Ice Relic, it's actually almost 25 vulnerability instant, and that's really strong, especially in comparison because you also apply Chill a lot and a lot of Torment. So with this skill, it's really crazy if you hit this, and it's AoE. So it's actually quite good synergy if you can make it work. And be aware that all your elite skills can be stored and still play the full animation, which can be really helpful to bait enemy dodges and then use it when you really want to hit it. Really good. So that's it for the first build. So the second build is a more aggressive version. You are still a Herald, and you still actually use the same legends, so the Dragon and the Shiro stance, but you run full Marauder. On every single piece, Marauder, all the way, with Power Infusion, if you have them. You run Sword, and Staff in the offhand. The Staff is the defensive set. You have Cleansing and Energy on this one, that's a must, it's really strong. And on your swords, you want to run with Superior Sigil of Rage and Superior Sigil of Hydromancy. This time it's a little bit different. This time it's if you swap to this weapon, you proc the Hydromancy because it does some damage, AoE around you, and it will instantly proc the Rage Sigil, so you get some nice quickness. If you don't want to have this combo, or if you don't feel like you get use out of that, I would still go for Hydromancy just for the nice damage burst around you, but swap the Rage Sigil for Air Sigil. That's the best setup. And then for Rune, I would always go for Rune of Searching because it gives you some nice boon duration, power, and movement speed passively. Really strong. For Relic, you have here different choices. You can either go with Speed and Wayfinder. Those two are always an option. If you feel like you have to go for those, or you want to go for those, then you would swap the Searching Roof for a different rune that gives you no movement speed passively, just more boon duration and power, ideally. But I would say the rune is perfect actually for the setup. That's why I would go for different relics. So option would be Iscarin. It's really strong if you are fighting one-on-ones and even in outnumbered situations, but it's the most greedy relic. So it's really offensive. Leadership relics is also really strong on Herald because you have 2 elites. One of them is actually instant cast, the dragon form one, the activate of the facet, and it will instantly cleanse 3, not only cleanse, convert 3 conditions on you into boons. This build lacks a little bit of condition cleanse, so that can be a really strong option. But for most circumstances, I would actually say Sakiro's relic is really strong because you have 100% fury uptime if you don't get corrupted constantly, and this will give you almost every attack that you do will crit, and the crit will heal you for 7% of the damage it did. That's really strong. So that's your biggest sustain that you get. But of course, if you feel like you are way too pressured by conditions, you would go for the Leadership relic. Leadership relic is also extremely strong, I would say, especially on this build, because it's also, if you have party, it's also party-wide around you. It can be really strong into the right hands. Okay, so that's it for the... Yeah. Out to the consumables for the more offensive trade, for the most offensive build. You want to run Peppercorn Crusted Sous Vide Steaks just for the damage reduction and for even more power and ferocity, so you can deal even more damage. And you pair that with the Superior Sharpening Stones just for even more power. So for the trades, you want to run Devastation, Invocation, and Herald. Herald is rather similar to the previous build. You get Rising Momentum just for more movement speed in fight. Some maximum health increase. You get a Consume skill, so the skills here that, not the instant ones, so the flip over skills give you a heal. That's really nice. A little bit of more survivability. Some boon duration and more bonus damage per boon. That's really good because you are power build, so every bit of bonus damage helps a lot. And then you get the same Draconic Echo effect. It's really strong as well. So it gives you passive more buffs, and it also gives you a longer duration of the passive facet procs. Really strong. Then Invocation, that's the really strong trade line for boons. So it gives you some Fury when the legend swap. You deal more damage while you have Fury. And you get energy when you break a stun. Also quite nice. So invoking a legend removes a condition. That's your first good condition cleanse, except from the facet of nature, true nature consume skill. So be aware that your legend swap removes condition. And then you heal yourself every 5 seconds most of the time, and you get swiftness. That's why you don't really need the Wayfinder or Speed relic, or you can run speed, but it's not necessary because you have so much swiftness uptime. And together with this, movement speed is actually really high. And then, really important, Song of the Mists. It will give you in Assassin stance especially some AoE vulnerability application and quickness. Really strong. In Dragon form, it will just apply some conditions, most importantly chill, so the enemies can't get away from you that easily. But if you feel like you can't get value from this trade for whatever reason, I would say that's the best trade you can go. But if you don't get any value, you would go for Rolling Mist just to permanently have 100% crit chance. But you will lose quite a bit because the vulnerability here and the quickness is amazing. It's really crazy. Now to Devastation, some nice vulnerability application here. Some more damage increases, nice, and some more vulnerability power. And then movement skills grant resistance, really strong. So you have actually quite a lot of resistance because you have so many movement skills. Really important on that build because, like I said, you don't have that much cleanses. Then you get passively Might when you use your legendary stun skills, really good. And Might is more power heavy, so you get 80 or 40 power and 20 condition damage only because you don't deal any conditions damage. Therefore, the Might and more power is really important or really helpful. And then that's the best one, Dance of Death. So you apply, when you apply vulnerability, you apply battle scars, which is a unique buff. And this buff will heal you. So the next attack will steal health. And it's actually quite a lot of health. And the health that you steal is doubled when you have 50% or less health. So that's really, really strong. And that's why this trade is also so good, because you will get a lot of battle scar stacks on this. So be aware of that. So that's it for those two builds. I think they are really fun and really strong. Herald is a quite strong spec to roam with. Might not be the best currently, but it's still very nice to play. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.
Traveling mountains just to find the loudest tears. We set down by the fire, knowing we could aim higher, but we didn't know that yet. So if you want something to hold on to, gotta find it first. But here I am, 'cause I've been laying under palm trees waiting for the summer, knowing there's nowhere to go. 'Cause I am happy on this island, wanna be my farmland. I don't ever want to leave, I'm in a tropic club. Traveling mountains just to find the loudest tears. We set down by the fire, knowing we could aim higher, but we didn't know that yet. So if you want something to hold on to, gotta find it first. But here I am, 'cause I've been laying under palm trees waiting for the summer, knowing there's nowhere to go. 'Cause I am happy on this island.